Hey gang, got a question for you. Who's the most beloved B-movie superstar of all time?
And who's the only man the devil tried to sell his soul to?
And who's the man that your mom most wants to sleep with? It ain't your dad, it's Bruce Campbell! And I can almost guarantee that your wives and girlfriends would rather sleep with him than you two. Welcome to Bruce on the Loose, a Bruce Campbell podcast, episode 1. My name's Dino Lorenzo.
And I'm Abby Fagan.
And we're here again. Thank you for joining us on our very first episode. Now, you can find us most of the time hanging out in the Facebook group, the Bruce Campbell Fan Club. So come by and talk to us. We're in there all day, and there's a lot of great people in there, and we'll get to that later. Our subject is Bruce Campbell. And of course, I would think that you're a fan. Otherwise, I don't believe you would listen to this podcast. And Bruce Campbell is an amazing, prolific actor. He's been called the greatest actor of his or any generation, jokingly. But either way, the guy is a wonderful actor. He's a great person, and you know him and you love him. Now, you may know him as Ash in the Evil Dead saga, and I've been a fan of his since 1983. Now, when you follow him for as long as I have, you get to see him transform, much like his character of Ash in the Evil Dead saga. He begins as a young man, maybe a little scared. Then in the sequel, he gets a little more brave. And by the end of the series, he is a blowhard. He is a loudmouth braggart, as they call him. And Bruce, if you've ever met him at a con or seen him on YouTube or caught any of his appearances, you know that this is art imitating life, life imitating art. Bruce is Ash is Bruce. At this point, they have become the same type of person, which is great. I love his convention persona.
He was a lot different back in 2004 than he is now when I met him the first time.
So that was the first time you met him, 2004.
Mm-hmm.
And he was still kind of...
Doofy.
You know, he was doofy. Okay. And now he is no longer a doof.
He is not doofy at all. He is rude. He is crude. He is awesome. He is freaking on it. I've never seen somebody pull so many quips out his ass.
Absolutely. And you know what? When he insults his fans, they love it. They eat it up. I've met him 3 times. Luckily, he's never really insulted me, but I think that I would love it just as they do. So it's great to see that side of him, but it didn't start that way, let's say. So where does the story start, Abby?
Story starts back long, long ago.
Before Bruce was born, the story really begins with his father. Now, you know Bruce is a Scotsman, and a proud one at that, right? So the story really begins with Charles Campbell, who was a billboard inspector for an advertising agency at the start, and he met Joanne. Right. Now, Joanne was a single mom in the 1950s, which was a rare thing, but they met, and then they moved in together, of course. They got married. She was a single mom. She had a son named Mike. And where did they live? Where'd they buy a house?
Braes of Bloomfield, Michigan.
So they had a house. They already had Mike. Then along comes...
Dawn.
Who is a member of the Bruce Campbell Fan Club, obviously.
Yes.
And 1 year later...
Oh, little Brucey was born.
On June 22nd, 1958.
He just celebrated a birthday recently.
I thought it was really great that his brother Don shared a personal photo of them hanging out together. Just, you know, the brothers hanging out.
Really candid.
Yeah, and it got a lot of action that day. I mean, I think the entire Bruce Campbell Fan Club, all 50,000 members, wished him a happy birthday. That thread was going all day long, and it was really a great thing. And I just want to thank Don Campbell for doing that. He's a great guy, and we love having him in the group.
Yeah. He's a war hero, too, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, and that's what we're going to talk about now. Now, of course, Bruce was born, the child who would become king, and whether it was playing with little green army men in his front and backyards, or playing with G.I. Joes, building tanks and fortresses and tunnels in the backyard, or even roughhousing with his brothers. One of the most important things that happened in those early years was he would watch a TV show called Combat. Have you ever seen this?
No, I haven't seen
They show it every now and again. It still, airs in certain markets. Every now and then I can catch it. It's a war show, obviously, with a name like that. And they would watch it. Of course, the Clan Campbell would watch it. And Bruce would see his favorite characters on the show and think to himself, well, that's a great job. I'd like to do that. But as you said, Don wasn't content with just wanting to do that and be an actor. He wanted to be the real character, which led him to join the Army Reserves and serve in Desert Storm. And thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And that's ultimately the distinction between them. Don wanted to be that soldier, and Bruce wanted to act as that soldier.
Such a weird conundrum.
So I watched... Isn't
Yes.
it? I've watched Combat. It's a great show, and it was very popular back in the day. But most of the listeners probably will never have heard of it. But if you ever get a chance,
Check it out.
go ahead and Google Combat and watch it. It's great. So, knowing this, it gets to grade school. Can you imagine Bruce in grade school?
No, but I'd like to.
Well, if you do some Google searches, you can absolutely find pictures of him around that age. And it's just hilarious with his ears. He's got these awesome big ears. They're black and white pictures, of course. But there's plenty of them on there.
It's so cute.
All the girls think so. And he's even used pictures of it in the Ash vs. Evil Dead TV show for Starz.
Mm-hmm. I saw those and I was like, oh, I know that picture.
Absolutely, me too. I was like, wow, that's his real dad. So it wasn't Lee Majors in the picture. It was actually Charlie Campbell.
Yeah.
So Bruce, of course, grows up, and we are in 3rd grade now, where his first performance, he does a dance routine with his friend Bruce. Can you imagine this? Bruce and Bruce. So they do a dance routine in 3rd grade, and all the girls laugh, and not in the good way. And you know how disastrous that can be when a girl laughs at you and you're trying to impress them?
No, but I can assume. Girls are vicious.
They can be. They can be vicious. Well, these girls were probably vicious, so I know that that was pretty much the only time he performed for quite some time. Now, he did things that all kids did in that era. And let me ask you something. He talks about something in his book, If Chins Could Kill, Confessions of a B-Movie Actor. He talks about making yourself faint. Was this a fad that caught on where you are in California?
Yeah, they go and hang themselves in the closets. I mean,
well, that's weird. See, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's the same idea. You go and not, try to hang yourself and then come to before, black out.
Yeah, that's a little weird. And I mean, it did catch on for a time where I was up north, where I come from in New Jersey. They call it wall pressure. And you take a few deep breaths, then you hold your breath, and your friend pushes on your chest. And before you know it, when you open your eyes, you're on the floor. You've passed out. You've made yourself pass out. So Bruce did this, and I mean, a lot of kids do it. Did you ever do it personally?
No. No, I like my not feeling faintness. I've never fainted before.
I prefer consciousness as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely hear what you're saying. So apart from doing this wondrous activity, Bruce shares his first kiss with a girl.
Aww.
And in the book, he says her name was Lennis. And these are all his early experiences. Now, the year comes 1966. Bruce is 8 years old. And his family takes him to St. Dunstan's Theater. Now, they also called it St. D's. Now, this theater is still up. It's now in its 86th season.
Wow. That's a long
So
run.
there's little Bruce, 8 years old, and his father is in one of the shows. So he sees his father in the show The Pajama Game, dancing, acting, generally being silly on stage in costume. Bruce said, this is something that I definitely might want to try. It piqued his interest. 5 years after seeing his dad in the show, he got the chance to actually play the prince in The King and I. Now, he says he was mortified and just frightened, but he did love it. It was a rush. So he got to play the prince in the show. And then, other shows came up and he got to play little 2-bit parts in a show Fiorello And I believe it was after his part in South Pacific, where he played a servant, that he ultimately made the decision to act. And when he told his father endorsed the idea. So time passes, as it does, and the years go by, and Bruce enters junior high. Now, one of the more important times of his life, in my opinion, because this is where he assembles the Detroit Mafia.
A very important group.
Oh, very important. Now, by his own definition, Bruce was a nerd. He didn't dress hip. He wore like Montgomery Ward work pants and, was just a total nerd. And this is him describing himself. Now, despite that, he ended up meeting some great guys and forming the Metropolitan Film Group.
AKA the Detroit Mafia.
Absolutely. Now, it starts with Mike Ditz, who's a lifelong friend. He's known Bruce since before kindergarten, and they used to go to little parties together and things like that, so they grew up together. Then in junior high, they meet Scott Spiegel.
I love Scott Spiegel.
Oh, yeah. Scott Spiegel is an amazing talent. I think he's hilarious. I listened to him on some of the commentaries, and I think that him and I have the exact same sense of humor. Some people may call it corny, but I think it's witty and funny and punny, like you always say. Puns to me are good. The worse, the better. Now, Scott's making his own little Super 8mm films, and he enlists Bruce to play a thug in a little film called Three Smart Saps. And these are all inspired by what famous comedy troupe?
The Three Stooges.
Right. Now, Bruce comes with his own bag of tricks because, remember, Bruce is working every now and then and acting in shows in St. Dunstan's. So he has access to the wardrobe department. So he gets to bring his own wardrobe. Now, these guys also meet Josh Becker. Now, Josh Becker and Bruce both got parts in a school play. And Josh, another great director, is doing an 8mm school project, Oedipus Rex. Now, Mike Ditz filmed it, and Bruce played in it as King Creon, and again, wows everybody when he shows up with his own embroidered toga from the wardrobe department of St. D's. All of these guys are doing this project, and Josh was friends with who? Your favorite of the group?
Sam Raimi.
Now, Bruce first saw Sam for the very first time dressed as Sherlock Holmes, playing with dolls in the middle of the school hallway.
Absolutely love that.
I know, it's so amazing. Didn't talk to him, but just noticed him and said, "Who's this weird kid?" Now, Sam says he was working on some sort of, school project. And it was just funny. He noticed him, but didn't really say anything. Now, Sam and Scott Spiegel didn't like each other right away because Scott had Mo Howard's address. Now, Mo, of course, from the Three Stooges. Scott was a huge fan. He had the address, and he wouldn't give it to Sam. So Sam didn't really like him at first. But once he gave in and gave him Mo Howard's address, Sam joined the group. And then the last member of the early group is John Cameron. He knew everybody from school, and he used to bust Sam's chops over his name because he never actually believed that Sam was his real name. He thought it was a made-up name and that he was what Bruce calls a Weisenheimer.
That's funny.
Now, they all get together, Metropolitan Film Group. They're filming movies left and right. They're all doing them. Sam's doing them. Scott, Josh, Bruce is acting in them. And a few of these early movies have actually escaped. Right now, they're working on an amazing release, something that I have wanted to see for years. Scott Spiegel's early films are actually coming out. I don't know if it's later this year or early next year, but you'd want to check it out. If you want to look into it, it's at the website www.super8shorts.com. And that's 8 as in the number 8. So that's coming on the horizon. So we're going to be able to see young Bruce. We're going to be able to see all of these guys young and their first forays into cinema. And I'm very excited about that.
No more choppy YouTube videos.
Yeah, well, there's YouTube videos, sure, but there's a lot of stuff that has not been released. Now, Josh Becker released some of it. Scott may have released some of it. And again, some of it have been, may have been smuggled out. So there's a lot of this stuff available, and I'm not going to go over the list now. When we get closer to release, I'll let you know exactly what shorts are going to be on it. But a lot of these early shorts, Three Pests in a Mess, Inspector Klutz Saves the Day. I mean, anything any Bruce and Detroit Mafia fan would know. So some of these have never been seen.
That's so
Just
cool.
can't wait.
That's so
Just
cool.
can't wait. And of course, we'll do a
I can't
review
wait.
on the podcast for that as well.
Woot!
Now we move on to high school. And this is where Sam begins to torture Bruce. Now, I know you love when Sam tortures Bruce.
It's my favorite.
Absolutely.
He is
And
so
I
mean to that
love
guy.
their relationship.
They're so cute and so mean.
Right, and that's what it is. I mean, whether it's, jabbing sharpened pencils in Bruce's back
Oof.
in class, or even getting him in trouble with teachers, lying to them, hey, Bruce does a great impression of you. And then the teacher would be like, Mr. Campbell, I want to see you after school. It was the tormenting Bruce is all just Sam's way of expressing his friendship. Like you say, it's adorable, but it's so mean, and he can get away with it because it's your friend. I mean, you can't stay mad at your friend, especially when your friend is Sam Raimi.
Right.
Just such a lovable, goofy guy who's pulling these pranks, and he got away with it. And Bruce, if you've ever listened to commentaries or seen them together, he does it to this day, as he will always do. He'll do it till their last day.
Because I like to punch my friends too,
So that was his way of expressing friendship. He only did it to his friends and people that he liked. He wouldn't waste time on anybody that he didn't like. But if you were Sam's friend with friends like these,
Mm-hmm.
So this friendship, of course, led to them, as the fates would have it, they end up sharing a radio speech class. And that leads to a live show during homeroom. Did they do announcements during homeroom in your school?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did it at my school, but they were always dreadfully boring. I can't imagine going to this school and having Sam and Bruce do a live show based on Captain Nemo and his pirates every morning.
That would be exciting. It was way better than what the lunch was today.
Absolutely, right. Now, Sam, of course, played Nemo. Sam's in charge. And Bruce played Wood-Eye. Now, again, as their friendship blossoms and the abuse gets worse, Sam talks Bruce into entering into a talent show. And so they come up with this act where they wear long underwear and gym shorts and do some sort of gymnastics routine as the Bonzoid Sisters. Now, I've heard Bruce talk about this many times over the years, and basically what they did was they just hurled themselves around, threw themselves at each other, did pratfalls, and really beat the hell out of each other. They talk about bruises and, like the worst pain ever that they probably feel to this day in some instances.
Oh my God.
And I'm pretty sure they didn't win the talent show because there was no talent there. They were just actually throwing themselves. But it would really serve them well in later films, knowing how far Bruce would go for a laugh or for an effect.
Exactly.
And now high school begins to draw to a close. It's senior year. Now they're doing everything. These guys pretty much own the high school right now, right? So they're doing school plays. Bruce gets a gig as an assistant director and a set designer on a George S. Kaufman play. By all accounts, the set design was horrible. But he eventually got drafted to play a part in the play. And of course, Sam's in the play as well. And what happens?
Sam made him laugh.
To the effect of, these muffins taste like shit. I'm going to shove them up the president's ass.
God.
And that just makes Bruce laugh. So Bruce can't pretty much finish the show. Basically, he said it's the longest 20 seconds of his life as his beard starts to fall off because he's laughing so hard. And this is in front of the entire school, okay? So that's pretty much it. Sam gets his kicks, bringing that out in Bruce, just tormenting him in any way possible.
Yeah.
But we love it. And as I say, it's the reason we're still watching them to this day. And we'll watch them until they retire.
Oh, indeed. I hope it never happens.
And that's about it for this episode of Bruce on the Loose. Now, as I said before, you could always find us in the Bruce Campbell Fan Club Facebook group. This is the home of the Ashy Slashy Puppet Contest. We're giving away an Ashy Slashy puppet from the Ash vs. Evil Dead television show made by NECA. And as soon as you get there, you'll see it because this thread has been going on since January the 9th. And it should be drawing to a close next month. So if you want a free Ashy Slashy, get in the club and post in this thread.
Yes, get in there because I'm going to win. Just kidding.
Yes, and Abby is eligible to win.
Woo!
Now, we've actually just started a Bruce on the Loose Facebook group. and it's getting a little bit of action. We've got several people who've joined, and we appreciate everyone, and we appreciate the support.
We're hoping to get a lot more.
Absolutely. It's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of, in and out, and a lot of talking back and forth. We are here to take your comments, your complaints, your jubilation. We're very social. We like to talk to people. You can private message me. I'm there. And I'm there to talk to you. So, if you want to join up, please do. Bruce on the Loose Facebook group. And also, another announcement, Bruce on the Loose is now on iTunes.
Ooh.
So if you want to go to iTunes, take a look at their film and TV section, and you will see us, of course, Bruce on the Loose. You can download us there for free. We don't charge for this.
No. Everybody should love Bruce Campbell as much as we do. The word needs to be spread.
I've always been a big fan of free love.
Me too.
It's an archaic philosophy, believe me. But that's what it's all about.
Really, really it is.
Of course, and you can find Abby Hotep's wearable art on her Dead Deer Productions Etsy page. Not only that, you're doing a contest, aren't you, Abby?
Yeah, I'm giving away 3, not just 1, 3 of my heads to 3 lucky winners. If you subscribe to either the YouTube, the iTunes, and comment a review, and be chosen at random 3 times. 3 times. So, yay!
Yay! Now, that's 3 different heads, right?
Good Ash, Bad Ash, and the Necronomicon. So.
Yeah, and they look amazing. Again, join the group and you come in and you'll see the post, you'll see the thread, and she has pictures of her wearable art. It's so cool. You'll be the coolest kid at the con with your little Bruce Campbell heads and Book of the Deads hanging around. It's just, they're awesome. And I wish she'd give me a free one, but I'm not that lucky.
Aww.
Maybe someday.
They do get a lot of attention at cons, though. They really do.
Oh, I bet they do.
I'm working on Ted Raimi right now.
Oh, that's awesome. In what incarnation?
Ted Raimi.
Just Ted Raimi himself.
Yeah.
Because you know what I want? I want T-Money. My money's getting bigger. Yo, 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 yo. I love that.
I love T-Money. That was so genius.
God, yeah. T-Money is... it's genius. It's genius. It is the only rap that I would listen to these days. I used to like rap as a kid, but God, if T-Money came out with an album, that would be it. My money's getting bigger. Yep. Oh God, I love that. Ted Raimi's amazing.
The contrast of characters in that little skit was
absolutely
amazing.
I think that's an extra on one of the Xena DVDs. Now, what you were saying is people love them at the con, and I absolutely believe that because honestly, for years, my personal coolometer was if you knew Bruce Campbell or not. So I'd meet somebody and they'd be like, I love horror movies, George Romero, Night of the Living Dead. And I'd be like, oh yeah, Evil Dead? What? Oh, no, I don't know what Evil Dead is. Then this dude's not worth my time. I mean, no shit. That was it. And that's my first question when I meet somebody. Do you know who Bruce Campbell is? If they say no, we may not be able to be friends too long. And it's not that I'm being snobby, but it just means that we may not have the same sense of humor, the same slapsticky type of humor. So that was my coolometer. If you knew who Bruce Campbell was right there, boom, we were going to talk for the next 4 hours.
Right.
And we were friends, And I have friends today that I met then that like Bruce Campbell. I think I've only met 1 or 2 people who knew about Bruce before me. Everybody in my life who's a Bruce fan is because I have turned them into one.
Yeah, same here. You know what? But I sit at places and I have this really good backwards hearing. And I'll listen for people to bring him up for some reason. And I'm like, oh, Bruce Campbell. Hey, Bruce, I know him. Let's talk Bruce. Who are you? We'll talk for hours. It's always fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's great. It's just
working
amazing.
cons is so fun. Somebody's got a shirt on. Somebody notices your shirt. It's like the secret cult thing. But that's really what it is, right?
You are just so right about that. The last thing that I wanted to say is about little Ashley Smith. Now, little Ashley Smith is a guy that was so eager to meet the world that he was born 3 months premature. And it was tough going at the beginning, but he's a tough little guy, just like his namesake. We call him Little Ash in the group. and he's fighting every day. And he's doing really good. He's opened his eyes. He's now accepting his mother's milk. He's coming along. He's making great progress. We're following it closely in the club. And he actually has a GoFundMe that was set up for him. So if you go to GoFundMe and look for A Healthy Start for Ashley, you can donate to little Ashley Smith. And it's a heartwarming story. And this little guy, he's just a tough little guy. But it's definitely something that we're going to be keeping an eye on. We'll be letting you know, and we'll follow the progress. And the GoFundMe is up right now, and it's called A Healthy Start for Ashley. So go ahead and stop on by and, read the story and see if it moves you to do something.
And there's no minimum donation. You can give $1. It's whatever you feel is right.
Absolutely. And some people think they have to give, tons of money or something like that. But honestly, for a cause like this, if you have 25 cents to spare, don't be embarrassed. Give it. I mean,
anything helps.
This kid needs every cent.
Anything helps.
With a baby that small and in that condition, and they need a parent around them 24/7. So obviously someone's out of work, and to care for the child, and every little bit helps. So I mean, donate anything that you can. And that's pretty much it for episode 1 of Bruce on the Loose. So we really thank you for tuning in, and join us. Join us.
What's wrong your soul?
Now, I just want to give everybody there a heads up. Next episode, episode 2, we're going to be talking about what happens after high school for Bruce and the gang. So be sure to join us next time on Bruce on the Loose.
Workshed.